Today we are doing the next chapter for class 11th from the book Hornbill, a very important chapter even if we are not in class 11th. That is the ailing planet. Ailing, something that is in pain, something that has got poor health. And it is, yes, it is being talked about our planet, Earth, the ailing planet. The Green Movement's role is the name of the whole chapter. This is an article by Nani Palkhiwala. In fact, anyone who is watching this video, who comes to read this chapter, you will find so many instances from this chapter that really will make a mark in your mind, and you will successfully use them in different speeches, articles, paragraphs, reports, whatever you write. This chapter has got many evidences that you can really note down. This work of Nani Palkhiwala has got so many good sentences that we can use whenever we are talking about our environment, which is right now in a depleting condition, because of which our planet, Earth, is in pain, is sick. Earth, which gives birth to all the biological things that we know, all the natural beauties take birth over here. So is Earth not a living organism? Living organism, Earth. A mother gives birth to a child. Earth gives birth to so many things. The whole green world is the creation of Earth. Earth is a living organism. We need to take care of Earth just like we take care of a sick person. So let's quickly read what Nani Palkhiwala says. The following article was written by Nani Palkhiwala and published in the Indian Express on the 24th of November 1994. Right? This is an article of Indian Express, 1994, 24th November. The issues that he raised regarding the declining health of the Earth continue to have its existence till date. The condition of Earth is declining. The ozone layer, which shields our atmosphere, is depleting, because of which we are facing, the plants are facing, the animals are facing scorching heat of the sun. The balance is getting disbalanced. The balance that exists in nature. We do need to take care of this. 1994 this article was published, and we are here right now in 2021. Still, the condition is same. In fact, it has worsened. One cannot recall any movement in world history which has gripped the imagination of the entire human race so completely and so rapidly as the Green Movement, which started nearly 25 years ago. So in 1994 also, they say that this revolution had started in 25 years, before that, and till date, there has not been much improvement. This cannot be done by one person, one country, one community. No. We all around the globe, each and every person has to play their own parts. We all need to play our own parts. Each one of us has a role to play towards this. In 1972, the world's first nationwide Green Party was founded in New Zealand. Since then, the movement has not looked back. From that, this group had formed, they came together, an organization was made, and they started working on this, and it is still working. We have shifted one's hope irrevocably. What is that? From one point to another. Okay, and that can't be changed. From the mechanistic view to a holistic and ecological view of the world. Right now, we need to think not in a mechanical way. We need to think in the holistic and ecological way for taking care of the green world of the globe. Holistic is what? Showing deep concern towards one whole thing. Not only, if you are taking care of a patient, you do not only take care of the physical health of the person, you also take care of the mental health of that person. In the same way, we need to take care of earth in a holistic way as a whole. Everything in it we need to take care of, and that is ecological view too. It is a shift in human perceptions, the way a person thinks, the way we perceive things. That is human perception, right? We need to change that. As revolutionary as that introduced by Copernicus, who taught mankind in the 16th century that Earth and other planets revolved around the sun. So just like Copernicus worked so much and made man think about the solar system, about the earth and other planets going round the earth, people started thinking in that way. Now we need to bring about a shift. People need to think about this more than anything else. We need to keep in view the holistic view towards the earth, towards our planet. For the first time in human history, there is growing worldwide consciousness that Earth itself is a living organism. Till date, I feel we people do not even, think about Earth as a living organism. Do we take care of it? Plants are growing, everything is happening, everything. Earth is giving us in the same way as God has given us. But do we regard them equally? It is a living organism. It is giving birth to so many things. We do need to take care of it. And yes, after this green movement started, there are people, there are organizations, there are many of us who do take, who keep this in mind. But we need to motivate everyone to do so. Every person needs to do so. Then only we can see a change. An enormous being, living organism, an enormous being of which we are parts. We are also part of this earth. It has its own metabolic needs and vital processes which need to be respected and preserved. We need to preserve its needs. The Earth's vital signs reveal a patient in declining health. Right now, the Earth's condition, the way the global warming has increased, there is rise in carbon dioxide. There is, because of this global warming, the polar ice is melting. Then the sea level is rising. Floods are coming, submerging the lands that are near the ocean areas. People dying. There is such a lot of devastation. There is such a lot of destruction. We need to think. We need to stop. Why are we facing so many natural disasters? Because the Earth's declining condition, we are not taking into our viewpoint correctly. we have begun to realize our ethical obligations to be good stewards of the planet and responsible trustees of legacy to future generations. Now is the time. There are many who are working towards this. I should not say no one is doing it, but a few people do something for the good of the planet will not help. We all need to play our roles. We need to be the stewards. Who are stewards? They are the caretakers of the earth. We need to be caretakers of the earth, and we need to be responsible trustees for the future generation. The future generation may be your children, the children who are still not, they don't exist, they will come, or the smaller ones who are there, who don't know things. We are trustees. We need to be responsible so that we leave a healthy planet for the future generation that is coming. The concept of sustainable development was popularized in 1987 by the World Commission on Environment and Development. In its report, it defined the idea as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. That is, without stripping the natural world of resources future generation would need. What is sustainable development? An economic development where we use the natural resources judicially. We need to think about the future generation, so we cannot strip naked the earth. We cannot extract without thinking. We cannot do this unjudicially. We need to use the resources of the earth judicially, ethically. Ethical, what is right, go for it. What is wrong, raise your voice against it. So we need to be very ethical while using the resources, so that we leave resources for the future generation too. We do not exhaust them. It takes years and years for the fossil fuel to form. It takes years and years for different types of rocks to form. It takes years for trees to grow. It takes a minute to cut them down. Think judicially, ethically use the resources. In the zoo at Lusaka, Zambia, there is a cage where the notice reads, "The world's most dangerous animal." Inside the cage, there is no animal but a mirror where you see yourself. So there is the zoo in Zambia, Lusaka, and there is a big cage and you have a big board on it, "The world's most dangerous animal." And when you go, you see that the cage is empty and there's a mirror in front of you. And yes, who will you see on the mirror? Your own reflection. The most dangerous animal is man himself. Thanks to the efforts of a number of agencies in different countries, a new awareness has now dawned upon the most dangerous animal in the world. Yes, when you see your reflection on that mirror, you will definitely feel the guilt. You will realize that yes, we need to bring about the change. He has realized man, has realized the wisdom of shifting from system based on domination to one based on partnership. So you cannot dominate on the natural resources that the earth provides. We are all equal partners. Present generation, future generation. We all are partners of that natural resources. So use judicially, leave for them too. Scientists have catalogued about 1.4 million living species with which mankind shares the earth. So in a catalog there, they have listed 1.4 million living species on the earth. Not only man, there are other animals and plants, living species, right? Estimates vary widely as regards and still uncatalogued living species. There are so many species that are still not under the camera focus. We do not still know about them. They are not in the list. Biologists reckon that about 3 to 100 million other living species still languish, still live unnamed. What is languish? To live feebly, weakly, because they are not strong enough, so we have not come to know about them. So they still live unnamed in the ignominious darkness, in this darkness about which we still don't know. We lack knowledge. All right? One of the early international commissions which dealt inter alia with the questions of ecology and environment was the Branded Commission. Now, a very famous commission is Branded Commission. Mr. L.K. Jha, he was an Indian. This distinguished man was a part of Branded Commission. Mr. L.K. Jha, an Indian, right? The first Branded report raised the question, are we to leave our successors, that is a future generation, a scorched planet of advancing deserts, impoverished landscape and ailing environment? So this Branded Commission, they talked about things, they discussed things, they debated. And then what was the question raised there? Are we, the present generation, to leave a scorching planet for our future generations, for our children? A planet which is advancing in, these desert areas increasing, impoverished landscapes, and an ailing planet, a sick planet. You must be seeing this, I have got a bad cold. We all know about the pollution level of Delhi. Why do we have this pollution? Don't you feel this climate outside is ailing climate? It is sickening. There are so many people falling sick. I went to the doctor and there was a long queue outside his clinic. It took me an hour to reach the doctor. Whose fault is this? Let's move on. Mr. Lester R. Brown, in his thoughtful book, The Global Economic Prospect, points out that the Earth's principal biological systems are 4. So he has listed all the biological systems into 4. What are these 4? Fisheries, that is all the marine animals and plants, then forests, then grasslands, and the croplands. Croplands where we actually grow crops, grasslands that exist, naturally, then the forest areas and the fisheries, that is the marine life. And they form the foundation of the global economic system. So these 4 things form the global economic system. Our economy runs because of these 4 things, he says. In addition to supplying our food, all this supply food to us, these 4 systems provide virtually all the raw materials for the industry except minerals and petroleum derived synthetics. So if we leave apart the petroleum and the minerals that we get from the rocks and all, if we look at the fisheries, the croplands, the grasslands and the forest areas, these are the 4 things that provide us everything, all the raw materials for all the other industries with food. So they are the staple things that we need. And just see what he says. In large areas of the world, human claims on these systems are reaching an unsustainable level, a point where productivity is being impaired. The amount of usage is more, productivity is less. That is why there is imbalance. They are impaired, imbalanced. Why? Because the demand is more but the supply is less. Let's read. When this happens, when there is no equality, when there is no balance, fisheries collapse. We do not economically use things. We do not judicially use things. So fisheries collapse. Forests disappear. Deforestation. Excessive deforestation. Need of wood. Use as much as you want. We need to be judicious. Grasslands are converted into barren wastelands and croplands deteriorate. This is the condition. In a protein conscious and protein hungry world, you all are much aware of this protein conscious world. I have seen so many children of your class going to gym, demanding for protein food. You all are protein conscious, right? Aren't we? Yes. In this protein conscious and protein hungry world, overfishing is common every day. That is why fisheries are collapsing. In poor countries, local forests are being decimated. What is decimated? Reduced in order to procure firewood for cooking. Poor countries, they do not have gas pipelines. They do not have other facilities. They need firewood. They are cutting down trees because they need to cook food. And what goes under the pot, that is whatever is used to burn the fire for cooking, under the pot, the fire for cooking. Alright, so what goes under the pot costs more than what goes into the pot. Since the tropical forests now cost more than since the tropical forest is, in the words of Dr. Myers, the powerhouse of evolution. Our forests are powerhouse. Several species of life face extinction as a result of its destruction. Because of deforestation, there are so many species that have become extinct, and there are many others that are endangered. So all these four things are getting deteriorated. They are disappearing. That is why we say the deserts are increasing. Impoverished lands are, the quantity is rising. Why? Fisheries are collapsing. Because we are protein conscious world, do we think and use the protein food? Everybody needs to cook food. In the poor countries, they are cutting down trees. And other countries are cutting down for their own needs. Excessive deforestation. Isn't it? And all the croplands and the grasslands are turning into wastelands. Barren. It has been well said. So that means our powerhouse, the forest is powerhouse. Everything is deteriorating and all the animals are becoming extinct. It has been well said that forests precede mankind. Deserts follow. Forest precedes mankind. So mankind is destructing forests, and that is why deserts are following. The world's ancient patrimony of tropical forests is now eroding at the rate of 40 to 50 million acres a year. And the growing use of dung. What is dung? That is the cow dung and the animal dung. That is the shit of the animals, right? Dung for burning deprives the soil of an important natural fertilizer. Now, people found that if you are not using wood, and you are using dung to use for cooking fire, for burning fire for cooking, then that whole area, after burning the dung, that whole area destroys the land, the texture and the nutrients of the land gets killed. And then natural fertilizer was the dung. That could be used as a natural fertilizer, and we are burning it. The World Bank estimates that 5-fold increase in the rate of forest planting is needed to cope with the expected fuel wood demand in the year 2000. So they are still thinking about 2000, and we have reached 2021. The condition has worsened. James Speth, the president of the World Resources Institute, said the other day, we were saying that we are losing the forest at an acre a second, but it is much closer to an acre and a half to a second. So he said it's not just 1 acre a second we are losing 1.5 acre per second. So quickly everything is finishing off. Article 48A of the Constitution of India provides that the state shall endeavour and protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. This is there, 48A, it is there in the Constitution. Do we implement it? It is there in the Constitution. Is it being executed? Are we implementing? Question mark. But what causes endless anguish is the fact that laws are never respected nor enforced in India. For instance, the Constitution says that casteism, untouchability, bonded labor shall be abolished, but they flourish shamelessly even after 44 years of the operation of the Constitution. And now, if we calculate 2021, it's been many, many more years. All of this is there written in the Constitution. But is it implemented? Do we not see instances of casteism? Is there untouchability not there? It is present. Very much present. Go into these remote areas, you will find it. There is still bonded labor even in the urban areas. A recent report of our Parliament's Estimates Committee has highlighted the near catastrophic depletion of India's forest over the last 4 decades. Decade is 10 years, so last 40 years it says. This is a report of 1994, so it's talking about those last 4 decades, right? And what is catastrophic depletion? That is disastrous depletion. All right. So it says India, according to reliable data, is losing the forest at the rate of 3.7 million acres a year. Large areas officially designated as forest land are already virtually treeless. Forest areas are supposed to be wooded, full of trees. But we see large areas of forest areas that we used to call as forest. There are seldom you can call them as a forest now. Trees have disappeared. The actual loss of forest is estimated to be about 8 times the rate indicated by the government statistics. You know, the survey people, the government or government officials, they form statistics. They have those graphs and all ready, but that is also not true. The condition is even worse. So let us now see what the article further says. A 3-year study using satellites and aerial photography conducted by the United Nations warns that the environment has deteriorated so badly that it is critical in many of the 88 countries investigated. So, UN took the photos from the satellite and also from aerial photography. The helicopters and aeroplanes, they go around taking photographs. They investigated around 88 countries and they found that the environment's condition was very, very bad. There can be no doubt that the growth of world population is one of the strongest factors distorting the future of human society. Yes, increasing population, increasing demand, less of supply, it's really going to, create an imbalance. There's such a lot of pressure on the 4 things that was listed by Lester R. Brown in his book, The Global Economic Prospect. He says there's a lot of pressure on fisheries, on grasslands and forests and croplands, because it is, there's such a lot of pressure on it to meet the demands of the rising population. It took mankind more than 1 million years to reach the first billion. That was world population around the year 1800. By the year 1900, a second billion was added. And in the 20th century, it has another 3.7 billion. Just see the, drastic rise of population. The present world population is estimated at 5.7 billion. This data is not up to date, right? It is not of 2021. This is of 1994, when this article was written. Every 4 days, the world population increases by 1 million, and right now the data must be different. Fertility falls as income rises. Education spreads. The health improves. Thus, development is the best contraceptive. But development itself may not be possible if the present increase in number continues. We need to control population. If you have 10 children in your house, will you be able to feed everyone belly full? Will you be able to educate them properly? Like good high education? Will you be able to give them all health facilities without problem? We really need to think about it. The rich get richer. That we are seeing. India is known for difference between the, wealth that the rich have and the condition that is of the people of below poverty line. The rich are getting richer. And the poor beget children. Poor are giving birth to children. They give birth to children so that in their old age, there are many people to look after them. They don't realize how will they take care of these children that they are, giving birth to. Rising population will not give a qualitative effect on their lives. So no need to focus on quantity. The rich get richer and the poor beget children, which condense them to remain poor. More children does not mean more workers. Merely more people without work. We need to make people understand this. It is not suggested that human beings be treated like cattle and compulsorily sterilized. But there is no alternative to voluntary family planning without introducing an element of coercion. The choice is really between control of population and perpetuation of poverty. So we really need to choose. What do we want? Do we need to control population, or we want to keep going deep into the pit of poverty? The population of India is estimated to be 920 million today. This is again statistics of 1994. More than the entire population of Africa and South America put together. No one familiar with the conditions in India would doubt that the hope of the people would die in their hungry hutments unless population control is given topmost priority. People should know that they need to control population. If they have only 1 or 2 children, they will be able to give them proper health conditions. They will be able to give them a sanitized environment around their house. All medical conditions will be given to them. Good education can be given to them. We need to tell them that more children does not mean more workers. We need to bring about a change in the way they think. For the first time in human history, we see a transcending concern, right? The survival not just of the people but of the planet. We don't have to think only about the people. So people is just a dot. If we think about the people, we need to think about the planet as a whole. So that is what is holistic approach. We have begun to take a holistic view of the very basis of our existence. The environmental problem does not necessarily signal our demise. It is our passport for the future. The emerging new world vision. Let us start thinking in a new way. Give a new vision to the world. Has ushered in the era of responsibility. This is our era of responsibility. We need to take responsibility of the ailing planet. We need to see what we are leaving for our future generation. It is a holistic view, an ecological view, seeing the world as an integrated whole rather than a dissociated collection of parts. So we just cannot, take responsibility of small parts. We have to think about the globe as a whole. That is holistic viewpoint. Industry has most crucial role to play in this new era of responsibility. What a transformation would be effected if more businessmen shared the view of the chairman of DuPont, Mr. Edgar S. Woolard, who 5 years ago declared himself to be the company's chief environmental officer. He said, our continued existence as a leading manufacturer requires that we excel in environmental performance. So he told each one of us, if you want to be a manufacturer, you need to take care of the whole. Environmental performance. Of all the statements made by Margaret Thatcher, a very, very strong and important personality, famous personality, during the years of her prime ministership, none has passed so decisively into the current coin of English usage as her felicitous words. No generation, this is what she said, no generation has a free hold on the earth. So do not think this earth is yours. You are not the owners of the earth. You do not have a free hold on this earth. All we have is a life tenancy. We all are tenants for the life. With full repairing lease. You have got the repairing lease. Whenever you see something that is in a bad condition, repair it. You are a tenant for your lifetime. You do not have a freehold ownership on it. In the words of Mr. Lester Brown, we are again ending it with Mr. Lester Brown's words, we have not inherited this earth from our forefathers. We have not. We have borrowed it from our children. That is the future generation. So if you have borrowed, you have to pay back with interest. Use things judicially. Work to make your planet a healthy one. It is a living organism. Use the resources that it gives judicially. Conserve as much as you can from the people you have borrowed, that is the future generation. A wonderful article. Use, keep some, the words of Margaret Thatcher, the words of Lester Brown, the Brandon Commission, the Lusaka Zambia Zoo thing, everything, keep them in your minds. Use them in various places, in your speeches, in your, articles, whatever you write. It's really going to help you. We'll meet in the next video very soon. Do write your queries in the comment section. Also, let me know which lines touched you, which lines made you feel guilty, which lines actually put you into thinking, made you ponder what man should do. Do write in the comment section. It will make me feel important. Thank you so much. Bye.